already watched Yongya's video about this and Stylos's, but it's bad. I'm a big Overwatch player. Play just about every day. Have since launch. My sister played beta. I saw a little bit of it. I have been a very dedicated Overwatch player. It's gotten me through some shit. And I'm pretty fucking angry about this. I haven't watched Mutahar or Charlie's video about this. Hold on, let me turn my capture card down because it's weird. Anyway, they killed the thing that was supposed to make Overwatch 2, and as a person who has thousands of hours in the game, I feel pretty fucked over. So for those that don't know, the developers released a roadmap about the seasons, and they've scrapped the thing that was supposed to make Overwatch 2, which was the PVE stuff. And I may go back and rewatch Yongya's video just to, take it apart what he says, but I think everyone's pretty much saying the same thing, is they're releasing it piecemeal. Oh, you're gonna get PVE stuff, in every other season. You have a season that is a hero, you have a season that has a map, you have a season that has a hero. I don't know what this PvE stuff, we're gonna get something in season 6, but fuck, let's just go on.
Have you ever watched a video and you just know in the back of your head that someone out there is watching it at the same time you are, and you can kind of feel their pain and tears, kind of like in Pacific Rim, where you're sharing the neural load. Both of you are experiencing this disaster unfold in front of you, and you can kind of have this almost empath moment where there's someone crying behind the screen watching this too. Well, welcome to the everyday experience of being an Overwatch 2 fan. Yep. Every time there is a new announcement from the Overwatch development team, it's just bad news. It's getting visited by Krampus every few months.
They have fucked this up so utterly and royally. Like, Overwatch is one of my favorite games of all time, and I've said that. I play nightly. I am so I know, like, stupid 35-year-olds angry at video games, whatever, and I usually don't. I'm usually not angry at video games. Like, people will bitch about everything and all that, but like, I haven't really gotten like incredibly frustrated at a development team or the direction a game goes. I usually try and I'm easy to please, right? But sorry, I need some background music. Not this time. Just because they have jerked us around so much. Just so much. Let's go.
When they make some kind of new details about what's going on with Overwatch, it's always just awful, disastrous news. And today's was by far their worst. They just completely announced that the last 4 years of hard work on their PVE component to Overwatch is just being scrapped. The entire progression system, all of that. Just
the issue with this too is they've known this for about 1.5 years, I believe, and now we're just hearing about it. You can only wonder there was a special team trying to get data to say, like, oh, where is the place, like, at what point in time are we going to drop this bomb to have the least amount of impact? And they are no, this shit is disastrous for them.
It's being flushed right down the shitter to join the gators in the sewers now, which is beyond shocking, because that's the entire purpose of Overwatch 2 existing, by the way. You might recall Overwatch 2 launched and there wasn't any of the story mode PvE components to it. They said that was coming in the future, and that's the entire reason why it's named Overwatch 2. Because right now the game is basically just Overwatch 1, but they had that big balance update. It was basically a big...
That's all it was. There's nothing that Overwatch 2 has that Overwatch 1 couldn't have. That's it. That's the long short of it. Like, everything that makes Overwatch 2, which was the PVE thing, is no longer there. To save face with me, and I know I'm insignificant, just in every possible way, but still, I'm gonna say it anyway. They need to take the 2 off their name. If they wanted any kind of respect from me and from a large part of their community at this point, they need to take the Overwatch 2 moniker, remove that too. There's no reason for it. And again, we'll keep watching this, but I do know like they're gonna release like PVE missions later on. There's not gonna be any kind of talent trees. There's no like overarching kind of mission system. Like imagine like Halo 1, right? Combat Evolved, you have 10 missions and then stuff like that, although we would have, you know, and talents and stuff like that. Borderlands-esque kind of thing everyone was thinking of, and we're not getting that. We're just not, and it's fucking bullshit. Like, it's really fucking bullshit that they have tanked this property this hard, because they have all their maps, and I've seen this fucking map. I've seen this shit before with Halo Infinite, where and I'm sure he's gonna show it. If not, we'll go and look at it after this. I'm sure he will though. They have this roadmap, season 6. They're putting all this shit in there, like, oh, we're having a new cinematic, we're having a new this and that. We've already had that. We've had that shit since Overwatch 1. In their PVE thing, it's like, oh, you're gonna get a story mission here. Really? Well, are we going to be able to keep that? Are the story missions going to pile up in like a campaign mode? Hopefully they will, but even then it's still fucking bullshit. And like they're cramming all of this stuff into this roadmap that this shit is like expected that we should have already had, and we do already have, and we've gotten in Overwatch 1, but they're like overloading this with like just so much bullshit, saying like, oh, we've got all this stuff coming, blah 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 blah, and then it's just a fucking big fucking middle finger to you. I'd have more respect for them if they just said Overwatch roadmap and just did that, like bam, like that would have been funnier. Don't fucking jerk me around with this. I have no desire to even play the game because I don't care. Like I don't care anymore. I was biding my time for PVE anyway.
Patch where they went from 6 to 5 for team comp, and of course changes to heroes and their kits, pretty significant changes in some cases, all of which I appreciated, but at the end of the day it was just Overwatch again.
All these significant changes in there, we got an Overwatch 1. If you're a Symmetra player like I am, you played probably like what, 5 different, completely different fucking versions of Symmetra, right? This is not new. Overwatch 2 means the sequel, means that it is the next iteration of the game. It is the second in the game. Shit should be new. You want to know a sequel we've been playing? Tears of the Kingdom. That's the most worthy title of a sequel that I've ever seen in gaming, is Tears of the Kingdom. Overwatch 2, give me a fucking break. We got 3 new heroes. Overwatch 2 should have had as many new heroes as Overwatch 1. Like, just flat out. But it didn't.
The whole point of it having a 2 in its name and being marketed as a sequel is that there was this promise, this little pinky promise, that the PvE and story mode, the hero mode, all that, it was coming. It was, you know, trademarked right around the corner. It's on its way. But unfortunately, just like the Season 2 Ultimate Muscle DVD I ordered from Amazon back in 2004, it's never showing up. Which begs the philosophical question that would have Socrates scratching at his noggin. What the fuck is Overwatch 2 then? Why is Overwatch 2?
Why?
If the whole thing that was supposed to be the identity of this title, the PvE story mode, is no longer in it, then what makes Overwatch 2?
Nothing.
We're getting real deep into the weeds here. We're about to start experiencing some fucking solipsism. But anyway, let me...
It's nothing makes this Overwatch 2 anymore. They need to fucking remove the 2. They do. It's not Overwatch 2. In fact, they've removed shit that they should have kept in, like 2 capture point. I know some people don't like it. Fuck that. Like, we didn't really get anything new except maybe 3 characters. We got new maps at the expense of removing an entire game mode. What, like, why? Like, what? Like, fine, people don't like 2CP, whatever. Like, allow people to choose in quick play what kind of maps they want to play and what kind of, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. And they fucked up all these other people too at launch, like May, like Bastion. They were ripped out from the game for quite a while, especially Bastion. I believe Torb was taken out of the game at some point too. And we never got anything from Overwatch 1 in like the past, what, year and a half, 2 years, something like that. Echo, and then the very long drought that they were supposed to be working on this PVE stuff for Overwatch 2, and then they released a PvP and be like, oh, Overwatch 2, you know, the real main chunk is coming later, and now it's never coming, and so fuck them. Like, I'm so angry at this, of being jerked around by them, by spending a fuckload of money on them. Thank God I haven't spent any money on Overwatch 2 shit. But in Overwatch 1, you know, I spent quite a lot of money with loot boxes and stuff because I felt that it was worth my time. Now it's just a big fuck you. I mean, that just is it.
Let me show you a segment from the announcement where they broke this hard to swallow pill to the community. It's fucking tragic.
And so we're left with another difficult choice. Do we continue to pour all that effort into PvE, hoping that we can land it at some point in the future? Or do we stick with this set of values that we've aligned on and focus on the live game and focus on serving all of you? With everything we've learned about what it takes to operate this game at the level that you deserve, it's clear that we can't deliver on that original vision for PvE that was shown in 2019.
Then why did you take a year
and
a half to tell us?
Is that we won't be delivering that dedicated hero mode with talent trees, that long-term power progression. Those things just aren't in our plans anymore. And we know that this is going to be disappointing to many of you, which is why we wanted to bring it up before we talked about the roadmap. And to be perfectly honest, it's been really difficult for many of us and a lot of folks on the team.
Man. Shut the fuck up. I have gone through this shit with Halo Infinite, and I am so fucking tired about it. Tired of it. I'm tired of hearing about it. Like, you can't deliver. Why can't you deliver? Do you not have the talent over there? Because I know Destiny 2 delivers. Borderlands delivers. Or not, even if you like cut back, because there's like, oh, and we may go into this here in a minute, but I've seen like, oh, you know, we have 37 characters or something like that. I've lost count, but they tell you it's like, oh, we have 37 characters. We wanted to give them all talent trees. You know, we have like 3 talents because, you know, kind of acting like a WoW talent tree. I don't know how they've changed that yet, if it's different or not, but fine. Pick 5, 10 characters, make a game, make a like complete story, and give us that. Give us this talent progression. Give us what they wanted. You don't have to include the entire cast, but then like a couple years down the line, do it for another set of characters. Do it for another set of characters. Why can't we do that? Do you not have the ability to? I highly doubt that. Blizzard used to be the best in the business, and they used to be, oh, when is the game coming out? Whenever it's done. Now it's, well, we can't get you the game out right now, and that's gonna not allow us to make money, so we're just gonna scrap it and give you this bullshit. Tell me if I'm wrong. Blizzard used to be, it'll come out when it's done. Now it's like, we can't make it come out in a year or 2, so it's never coming out. Fuck you.
Poured their heart and soul into that stuff.
This clip will live in infamy in the Overwatch community for quite some time, I imagine. This is going to be the boogeyman that haunts them for a long time. They shut down the copium of the PvEs right around the corner, guys, then everything's going to be great. The grass will be greener once the PvE and story mode's finally out. Just hang tight, buckle down, it's on its way.
Yeah.
They just rip the band-aid off and say, nope, no reason to believe in magic. We're pulling all of the resources from it and focusing on the live game.
They want to make their money. That's it. And I get that. But it's so much that, okay, we want to deliver our passion while making money. And now I assume it's from the higher ups. That just no longer is the case anymore for Blizzard, and hasn't been for a long time. And I've still enjoyed their shit, but now, especially since Jeff Kaplan left, I want to know why he left. There's some shit in there that happened that nobody knows about. There's some reason why he left, and we don't know that. And I would suspect it has something to do with the direction of Overwatch 2. Probably the free-to-play, probably the refocusing on the vision of this battle pass, not releasing characters, you know, the monetization of skins, where 2 legendary skins right now is the price that Overwatch 1 was. 2 skins. And Overwatch 2 is the price of Overwatch 1, the entire game, with however many skins that they would release for free. And that's no longer an issue. Sorry.
Now, beyond the obvious of why this is horrible, it's important to note that Overwatch itself, Overwatch 2 itself, isn't the most cared for product right now. I wouldn't say it's neglected. There's a lot of members of the community that do complain about it being neglected from the team, but I disagree. It receives a balancing update, a patch at least once a month. So the frequency isn't terrible, but it doesn't have the same tender love and care you would expect from a title like this. And it has certainly been in a long-term drought when it comes to meaningful new content being added to it, like new heroes, maps, or things like that. That shit's all but extinct. That's not something that's been really frequent in the Overwatch ecosystem for a long time. And that's because they have been focusing so heavily on trying to deliver that PVE story mode talent tree experience. And now all of it's fucking worthless. It's all for nothing. All of the years they spent doing that instead of focusing on making Overwatch the multiplayer better has just been nothing to show for it. It's all been in vain. So it's just a real cherry on top of the shit cake. And understandably, a lot of people are disappointed here. There were a lot of people that probably got Overwatch 2 because they just wanted the PvE and story mode, and the multiplayer was just a little bonus for them.
Pretty much.
And now that's not even coming, so what the fuck did they even bother with the title for? I've never quite seen something to this scale executed this poorly, where they market something that's, hey, PvE story mode, this is what makes Overwatch 2 a real sequel, not just a balance update we're doing to Overwatch. It's this real shiny new toy that you're all gonna love to play with. It's this PvE story mode. They've shown footage of it, they've made a lot of announcements about it, they've really pushed the idea that this is going to be worthy of being called a sequel.
There we go, let's read this. When the sequel of Overwatch was announced at BlizzCon 2019, where the game was also playable, it was with the promise of a PVE hero component that would allow players to gather squads and play through a narrative-driven multiplayer experience. On top of that, each of the heroes that they'd come to know and love would be reworked for PVE, given progression system that would allow players to unlock new talents. It was an ambitious new mode that in many ways was used to justify the 2 at the end of the title. Not anymore though, apparently.
To Overwatch because the PvE and story mode's doing so much heavy lifting and so much is going into it. It's real deep, it's real fun. Now GameSpot did conduct an interview where they asked questions to try and get a little more clarity for the community. The big talking point is the direction that you're now taking with PvE, that you basically aren't doing it. Is that the correct way to characterize it? It's not happening anymore and you pivoted away from it. And Aaron Keller responds, I think I would characterize it slightly differently, which is we are doing a part of what the team had set out to do, but not the entirety of what was discussed back at BlizzCon 2019. So the real focus is on the story missions and that experience as opposed to the more open-ended hero mode and that stuff.
Okay, we have a thing called Star Watch that just came out. Everyone fucking hates it. It's terrible. It's a terribly designed mission. But regardless, if it's anything like that, then I don't want it. Most people don't want it because that shit fucking sucks. And the idea of it is neat, but we've had that since Overwatch 1. We've had archive missions. We've had this shit. This is not different. This is more of the same shit we've gotten in Overwatch 1. What, are they going to allow us to play these missions at any point in time? Or are they going to take them away with every season? Like, and is it just going to be repurposed, you know, multiplayer maps? I mean, some of them are like you know, fun for an hour or two, maybe. Like that Halloween mode, that one was okay. But that's just a repurpose of the map. We thought we were going to get bigger maps, like Halo kind of sized maps. But if it's just archive mission bullshit again, this isn't new. This isn't like some mind-blowing thing that we haven't had before. I am so fucking angry at this, and I shouldn't be this angry, but I am. I've been playing this shit nearly daily since day one, and I've seen it just fucking crash and burn. It is just, it's Halo Infinite again, and I played a fuckload of Halo Infinite. At least they had a campaign. But whatever.
Right, so it's fair to say that the experience that you showed during the first Overwatch 2 reveal is not going to be the one that will be released at any point. Yeah, exactly. So we're definitely not doing the hero mode and the talents and that power progression system. So you're basically doing absolutely fucking nothing of what was advertised over the course of the last 4 years. It's the most watered down bare bones version of a PVE component that they could tack on, at least from everything I'm seeing here. It looks like they're going to try and do like these small little story missions for some heroes where there is PVE to it, but it doesn't have the progression system, it doesn't have a talent tree. So it really just feels like you're almost just doing a custom game that Blizzard themselves is giving a stamp of approval to.
That's exactly what they're
like
doing.
You're just playing some fanfic that Blizzard's given the thumbs up for. This just isn't at all what anyone was expecting for Overwatch 2. This isn't what anyone was buying into for the hype of Overwatch 2. A story mission that they put out once every 6 months maybe, that tells the story of Widowmaker, the time she ate a sandwich at a Starbucks and then had to fight 5 droids on the way out. Like, that's not interesting, and that's not worthy of this being called a sequel anymore. There was no reason for Overwatch 1 to have died. This next part's really interesting and a bit odd. There's a lot of honesty from Aaron here, so he mentioned something that I briefly touched on about how the actual PvP game felt neglected by most of the community. He says, "We had a really large portion of our team working on the PvE side of the game, and I think players of our live running game could feel that because we eventually stopped making content for it. It's been maybe 2.5 years since the last hero that we launched, and we don't want to be back at that point where it's another 3.5 years since launching a PvP map." So he admits that they recognized the game quality was suffering in the PvP side of things because of all of the focus on PvE. He then goes on to say that they shifted strategy last year, and after shifting strategy, they focused entirely on the live game and pumped out Overwatch 2. Which I think is a little stinky because Overwatch 2 did not feel like this crazy big shift in priorities from the team.
Yeah.
This felt like something that one of their departments could have been working on while they were still working on PvE. Again, Overwatch 2 as it launched was just a big patch for Overwatch. And really, like, when you break it down to its bare bones here, if you really take its pants off, it was only a couple big changes, the biggest, of course, being reducing teams from 6 to 5.
I'm sorry, but... and I know it doesn't have the polish that Overwatch has, but I bought into Paladins. I kind of want to just go and fucking play that now. Because at least Paladins has new characters that come out. It's monetized well. It has a system of cards where you can like give particular cards to your characters if you've never played Paladins. It's again similar to Overwatch a little bit, but like, okay, I like what is her name, Ming, or Ying. She has this like mirror thing, and there are like 4 different categories where you can give them 5 cards from any of the categories and kind of customize the character a little bit, and then you can level up the cards so like it gives you more power. So you can customize the characters that are already there, and it's pretty fucking fun. Like it's you have these characters like Overwatch, but you can customize them in that way. We don't even have that for Overwatch. You're telling me High Res, who again, they're not a AAA company, but the game is fun enough, right? You're telling me Blizzard can't do that? They can't give us, you know, at least a little bit of what they promised? It's just archive missions, essentially? And if they're like anything that we've got recently, I don't even want to fucking play them. So, whatever.
But that's not exactly something that takes a ton of resources to change, I don't think. Of course, I'm not a fucking developer. I can be very naive on how hard it is to take one number away from 6. Subtracting may be very difficult in the code of the game.
Exactly, yes.
But that was by far the biggest thing about Overwatch 2. Of course, they did have a couple new heroes that I'm sure they were working on for quite some time, but overall, it still wouldn't be enough to justify calling it a sequel.
2 is a new game. If you have Wind Waker and then Twilight Princess, the sequel to Wind Waker, or I guess, I don't know if you'd call it that, but the next game in the series that is wholly itself, we're not adding a few things to Wind Waker and then being done with it. It's a new game. It should have new everything, or at least take what you have and give us as much as you would have a new game. Again, Tears of the Kingdom. It's basically Breath of the Wild, but like quite literally 3 times as big. And I won't say any more about that. It's fucking amazing. Overwatch 2 gave us a new mode while taking another mode away, and 3 heroes, and a bunch of broken heroes that they had to take away and then give back later on.
The sequel was still hinging entirely on the fact that it had this big new mode coming to it, and now it doesn't. But Aaron does go on to say that they are still planning on making story arc content, which is just the very, very stripped down version of what they had envisioned initially, which is the PVE component. So there's going to be story arcs. They said they're planning one for season 6.
They fucking done that. They fucking done that. They've done it. It's archive. The archive modes. You go back and play whenever Tracer was like a new recruit. There's one with in Paris, the Blackwatch or whatever, Talon or whatever the fuck it was, and I think that was like right around when Moira got released. We've had that. That's not new. That is nowhere fucking new. That is not anything new than we haven't had in Overwatch 1. It's not. Why are they trying to fucking piss on us and call it or tell us it's rain whenever they're pissing on us? You know, I think I'm so fucking over it because of Halo Infinite. Because they kept on saying this and this and this, and they're gonna do this, and they just fucking bring it back. You know, no couch co-op, none of this. And I'm experiencing it again, and fuck them. Fuck the industry now. Like, it's... Shit on Nintendo all you want. Yeah, they're a fucking awful company, but at least they make good games and they stick to their promises. Blizzard used to do that. Halo used to be that. Now it's... whatever.
There's no telling exactly what kind of cadence they're going to have with the release schedule of these story arcs. It could be pretty frequent, but I doubt it. I don't have faith in the team to make those kind of frequent updates with this PvE stuff. This feels like something they'll do like maybe once a season at best. And even still, that's lackluster content because it's nothing new. They're adding a bit of a story to it, but with no talent, there's no talent tree, no progression system, nothing like that. It feels like just a pure afterthought and something they're doing out of an obligation because of how they marketed Overwatch 2. Hats off to GameSpot for not being afraid to actually ask some decent questions here. So this next section, he's basically saying exactly what I did. So he's talking about how there's going to be a lot of frustration because they're basically giving a game, or they're not giving the game that they had advertised. You know, he says, we're in a situation now where this game is what it's always been. It's evolved in some ways, but a sequel was released, and that sequel's justification hinged on the PvE. Why did that happen? And without just reading verbatim the response here, you can absolutely go read the entire GameSpot article if you want more insight. I'm just going to try and sum it up the best I can. His response is basically saying, like, yes, the PvE won't be as we said it would, but we feel the game is very different from Overwatch 1 for a variety of reasons, and they keep patting themselves on the back for their roadmap, saying that this is the biggest thing they've ever done. Like, this kind of update for Season 6 is the largest in Overwatch history, and their roadmap illustrates their goal, like their mission to make this feel like a real sequel that's different from Overwatch 1.
Fuck you, it's not.
But it's really not that impressive. Like, they're not doing anything here that other games aren't doing more of and better. Like, this roadmap is
okay, let's look at this roadmap. Quest Watch, limited time event. This is probably, I've heard, supposed to be something similar to like the Star Watch thing that they have right now. Nobody cares for it because it's fucking terribly implemented. It's not fun, and even if you do have some fun with it, it's 2 or 3 times max. Like, okay, we've done it. Story missions, we've already got that. We've had them. Are they going to let us play them? Are they gonna, you know, allow us to select them anytime? I don't know. You'd think that they would, but fuck, I don't even know. Mischief and Magic, I guess that's that's probably what the overarching battle pass in season 5 is, which even then, like, they've had like a Greek mythology one. Now it's like a space kind of Warhammer 40k thing. The battle passes themselves aren't necessarily all surrounded by that either. And what we get, a skin or 2, and then the mythic, and then they've said, oh, mythics take like 6 months to make. Get the fuck out of here. If they're taking that long, then you need to hire better programmers. Not saying I can do it, but I'm just saying there are other games that do it just as well with quicker turnaround time, and they don't make excuses. Okay, we have over here, we have a cinematic reveal. We've had that in Overwatch 1. In fact, you know what? In Overwatch 1, we had a cinematic reveal for just about every new character. Like, we had a lot of them. With this, we've had Junker, Queen, and Kiriko. We never got one for Sojourn. We never got one for Ramatra. And we never got one for Lifeweaver. This is not a thing that should be advertised for season 5. This is expected. This is nothing new. I mean, okay, I guess fine. You're telling us it's going to be like that. Summer Games, nobody gives a fuck about Lucio Ball. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a flying fuck about that. Anyone who has devoted even the smallest amount of time could have devoted that time somewhere else. Nobody gives a fuck about Lucio Ball. Or the few people that do, they've already had it made. You remember in Overwatch 1, where they didn't have a battle pass and we got all this shit for free, and I guess technically we're still getting these modes for free, but in Overwatch 1, we had Summer Games come out like right when that shit launched, or very soon after. And then we also had the Halloween event, and then we had the Christmas event, and all of these events, now they're just recycled. Slightly different, sure, but they're recycled. It's not, the Summer Games are not a new thing unless they're adding something that I don't know about, which maybe, I don't know. And then season 6, story missions. Again, we've had that. We've had the archives. We've had this shit before. This is not new in any way, shape, or form. It's just not. It's not new. A new support hero, which I would hope so. Flashpoint, whatever the fuck that is. I think it's a new game type, which we don't know anything about. And thank you for, I guess, giving us another game type, even though you already took away 2 CP, which personally for me, I enjoyed. I may be like the only one. I like Temple of Anubis just fine. Was it annoying? Everything in Overwatch is annoying. I mean, but it's still fun. I would rather have that option to play than not. And I know sometimes it comes back around in arcade and everything, but you just you ripped a chunk away from quick play and gave us this other chunk, which I'll take 2 CP over push any day. I know a lot of people like, oh, I want to see the people that want that. I'll fucking do it. I don't like push. It's annoying. The spawning is weird. I don't like it. I know they've tried to correct it, but they haven't. And then whatever these hero mastery things are, this seems to me like if anyone's ever played Super Smash Bros. Melee and they had all these like break the targets, and every like stage was kind of molded for a particular character, so all the break the target stages were a little bit different. It's kind of that. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with that. And then down here it says
fine.
Hold on. This stupid fucking bar won't move. 5B and season 5. It's a 5v5 mini comp season. On Fire returns because for whatever reason that wasn't in there. And then creator workshop mode. I wish that would go away, but creator workshop mode, which do we not have that in Overwatch 2? I haven't looked. I thought we had that. We had an Overwatch 1, so that's the same thing. They're giving us back what we already had in Overwatch 1. I don't know. Down here it says firing range. Okay, player progression system. I don't know what that is or can't say anything about it other than we did have a player progression system that they took away from us in Overwatch 2. You know, we had the star rankings and the little thing around your border whenever you load it up. Overwatch anniversary, yeah, everyone's excited for that and more. Well, anything that goes on the and more, which you see a lot of places doing, like, oh, we have this and this and more. That more is clearly not exciting enough to put right up in front, like, you know, front and center. So, like, it's literally nothing. Season 7 and beyond, we have a new tank hero. Okay. New collaboration event. I'm assuming something like One Punch Man. And that's limited time. A new control map. Oh. New winter event. Is it a new winter event or is it Snowball May again? Just saying. New hero mastery missions multiplayer. Again, we don't know what those are. Roadhog rework. Don't give a shit. Fan favorite modes return. Really? Why did you take it away from us? If they're fan favorite, you know that we like them. Why are they not in right now? Is that a bad question to ask? Is that like really a taboo question of if we like them? Why don't you just give it to them? Whatever. I'm being salty. Cinematic debut. Yeah, well, we've already had that, and that's not worth being on here. It just should be a given, but whatever. Competitive mystery heroes returns. No one fucking cares. They just don't. Lore codex is the only thing that like is good for me because I fucking love world building. I don't know why that's not in there now, but it's a codex. It's a thing that you go on, and probably they'll have like characters, places, events, whatever. You can go and click on it, and it'll probably show a little picture and a little blurb about it in whatever Overwatch lore there is. And then a Sombra rework. We're reworking everybody. I don't. If Sombra, and this goes for anyone, if Sombra is so broken right now, underplayed, whatever, that she needs a rework, why is she still in the game? Why don't you remove her until you fix her? Because right now, if she's not fixed, and you know that she's not fixed or know that she's not performing where she needs to be, why is she in the game? Is it to trick people into saying, well, okay, Sombra looks cool, I'm gonna play her? That's a throwaway pick, and then you're gonna get shit on for picking a character that's not doing enough for the team. So why is she still in here? Is she that broken that she needs a rework? Okay, that's fine. Why is she still here then? if she isn't up to par. Right? So that's, I don't get the logic in that.
I guess, but not as like justification for calling this a sequel when you've stripped away what was supposed to be the main component of it. These aren't like incredible jaw-dropping updates, like innovations to the game or the formula. Adding a new map or 2 new maps isn't exactly going to have people charging into the streets, pumping their fists, celebrating, "Oorah," twirling their shirt over their head or anything. And adding 1 new hero like once a fucking year isn't that impressive either. But like I mentioned, the game doesn't have this kind of tender love and care, so I guess drip feeding any kind of content and attention to it is good. It's a step in the right direction, but it's coming on the back of stripping away the main component of the sequel, like the whole identity of it being a sequel. So it's just, I don't know, it doesn't seem to me like this justifies it being called Overwatch 2 anymore. And one other thing I find a bit laughable, even delusional, or maybe I am the one that's on stupid pills, but they really seem to put a lot of stock in the quality of their limited time events, or like their event modes. Like, they really seem to put a lot of faith in how much players are going to love their events, and they're fine. Like, I've played their events before. I've played a lot of Overwatch. The events are fine, but it's not like what would keep me coming back to the game just because you have like a goofy, silly event mode going on at the time. But they seem to really think that that's a huge accomplishment, that they have basically a fucking custom game that they'll pump up in a playlist every now and then. To me, it just feels very underwhelming and falls flat because, again, you have this sequel that was supposed to have a huge story mode PVE to it that's not there anymore, and now scrambling to try and justify why it's even still called Overwatch 2. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it's extremely disappointing to...
No, it's fucking bullshit. It's not extremely disappointing. It's fucking bullshit. Gara said something. I haven't watched his either yet. Let's see what Mudahar has to say. I'm pretty sure everyone is just saying the same shit, but even I probably am. And they, I'm not a professional at this or anything. I'm gonna tell you, like, this fucking blows. And again, I would have rather had it delayed or something. Like, how can people make games like Destiny and Borderlands and fuck Battleborn had their own shit, right? Like, I still will die on that hill that Battleborn is a great game, or was, and what do they call it, the 800-pound gorilla in the room or whatever, that was Overwatch. And when Battleborn released, I believe it was the first weekend of beta. I don't know if it was closed or open beta, but I bought Battleborn. I had a great time with it. I thought it was fun, and it had a campaign mode with story missions and characters that were interesting. The one that I played was this like he was like a mushroom kind of guy, and you'd go through it and you could level him up, and there were just like I believe there were 2 different strands. It's like DNA. It's like, oh, do you want this or this, kind of like an offense or defensive thing. Anyway, point is, Battleborn did it. I wish Battleborn had stayed alive and Overwatch should have died, because at least they had ambition and they brought some shit that was unique and new. Sorry.
Hello, guys and gals. Modern gaming is disappointing. Wow, hot take there, Muda. Jesus Christ. Yep. But didn't you like games that came out recently? Yeah, I like Resident Evil 4 Remake. I like Dead Space Remake. Yeah, there you go. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to start off with a eulogy. Mineplex is dead. So for some of y'all Minecrafters out there that you love to play on the old metaverse with your friends, play the little mini games, go to the Dallas Mavericks Stadium to be recreated. Yes, not even joking. Mavs World will launch on Mineplex servers Yeah,
What the
this
fuck is
banger of a
Mineplex?
game that has currently -2 players online because the servers have been taken down.
-2
As you're all
players.
aware, servers and the websites have been down for a couple days now. Unfortunately, I have been given the burden of informing you that this will be forever. Yeah, it's a shame, man. All good things do come to an end. You know what does come to an end, though? Overwatch 2. Now, I want to start off by saying modern Blizzard
bullshit.
is kind of sad, okay?
They're
Now, I
awful.
used to be a big Blizzard boy, okay?
Me too.
But let me tell you,
Me
before
too.
the controversies, they used to make World of Warcraft back when, honestly, it was decent. I enjoyed it. It was fun. You had Warcraft. I enjoyed Warcraft. I enjoyed a little Warcraft 3. StarCraft never really played, but honestly, it was a fun game.
I love
But
StarCraft
Diablo's
too.
where I put most of my hours into, okay? Nothing gets your boy Diamond Tom Brady hard like getting the same loot over and over again with marginally better stats, okay?
yeah.
There's just something addicting about the Diablo formula that I actually have to imagine you have to fail really bad. You have to purposefully fuck up so hard to mess that game up that I honestly don't see Blizzard doing that. Then again, I could be mistaken. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Now, that being said, though, Overwatch is one of Blizzard's...
Really? You can't see Blizzard fucking up the Diablo formula? Really? Really? Did he ever play Diablo 3 when it launched? Real Money Auction House? No? Diablo Immortal? Alright, let's go.
shooter games. They're live service, like arena shooter. Now, Overwatch has 2 games. Actually, 1 game. Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 1.2, which they call Overwatch 2, but it's basically just Overwatch 1, except they made it free to play and gave people who paid like $60 back in the day some skins, okay? Woohoo!
Yep.
Let's go. Exciting stuff right there, gamers. Now, that being said, though, Overwatch 2, the community is currently... the community is currently reeling from the fact that the one mode that they were pimping out for the longest time, basically the reason this game is called Overwatch 2, okay, that's gone. PVE hero mode is being scrapped. Oh boy, this is the game. I want to just really reiterate. When Overwatch was becoming Overwatch 2, this is the goddamn reason why they had to port the game over to a new engine, an updated engine. The fact that they wanted to create a sequel, all right, which again, I don't understand why people lined up to play Overwatch 2 like crazy on release day. Overwatch to me was fun for the first 6 months, and after that, all the characters they
Why did people line up to play Overwatch 2 on release day? Well, they fucking didn't allow us to play Overwatch 1. Where else are we gonna go if you still enjoyed playing Overwatch 2? Some of us not going to Overwatch 2 because we couldn't do it because our fucking phones weren't supported. They fixed that, I'm just saying.
introduced felt like recolors. There was a severe content drought to the point where I'm not even fucking with you. Halo Infinite had a better release schedule for content, in my opinion, than Overwatch, okay, throughout its entire goddamn life. Now, the Overwatch community since 2019 has basically been begging for new content, okay? But can we have a little bit of content? Maybe a map? Can we at least... Can a brother get a goddamn emote, okay? Please! Christ, can we get an emote? That's how bad the community got, okay? Pandemic hit? Okay, yeah, sure. Obviously, development's gonna be a little bit screwed. Obviously. But, you know, comparing Overwatch to other games like Siege, Halo Infinite, Call of Duty Warzone, it literally doesn't even feel like it's in the same league. This is a game that is honestly...
That is so fucked to think about. That Halo Infinite is doing better as far as content than Overwatch. I don't even know if I agree with that. I think they're both dog shit. Halo Infinite, we got Forge. That's something. I don't know.
The content basically doesn't exist in my opinion. And honestly, once you played like 10, 15 matches of it, I can guarantee you a year from the release date of Overwatch 2, not much will ever actually change. Now, this PvE mode, this hero mode, was supposed to be the reason again that it was Overwatch 2.
It's not.
And it's basically...
Sorry, I do have to cut in and what he's saying. That I would have said that in Overwatch 1. Overwatch 2, you know, I'll give them credit there. Like, they have committed to this, like, every other season hero hero launch, and it still is nowhere where it should be, especially for having that 2 in their moniker. But a year out, you're gonna have more maps. You're gonna have a season is about 3 or 4 months, so you're gonna have at least 2 heroes per year. It'll change a little bit, to be fair. Shit, sorry, I don't know why that happened.
Been removed. Okay, yes, this cooperative mode that I would have played, I know my friends would have played. We actually talked about it when we heard of Overwatch 2. The only reason I really am not playing Overwatch 2 is because all I was waiting for was this mode, and it's gone. It's done. So effectively, what was it? It was the promise of a PVE hero component that would allow players to gather their squads, play through a narrative-driven multiplayer experience, co-op, and on top of that, each of the heroes they'd come to know and love would be reworked for PvE and given progression systems that would allow players to unlock new talents, which sounds like a cool thing. I'm not much for Overwatch PvP because the community is toxic dog shit.
Oh, yeah,
but I'm totally down for some PvE. I love PvE, and any game that brings it, if it's good, I'll truly get into the experience. So of course it was removed right here, and we're gonna read exactly why. According to the team, the decision was made for the good of the game and its live multiplayer component.
Money.
Okay, now let me explain something about the multiplayer component, all right? Honestly, compared to the original Overwatch, the fact that the loot box system, which arguably is way better because at least you constantly felt like you were progressing and unlocking things, has pretty much been replaced by the most lazy progression systems of modern gaming.
This battle pass is fucking horrific. I'll take loot boxes any day of the week, and I think anyone will do that because you know why? If you get a duplicate, you get money for it, and you can use that money to buy the skins that you actually want. But Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2 kind of fucked that up. And I mean, rightfully so. You don't want to play however 80 hours to unlock one character, Darth Vader or something. Or it may have been much more than that. Modern gaming, right? Modern gaming.
Where honestly, comparing it to older games, even older stuff, like when I was a kid, like Modern Warfare 2 on the original Xbox 360, those era of games, it feels like the progression here is mostly intended for you to progress with your credit card, okay? If you want to buy these battle passes and these systems and grind those out, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, a lot of business users, a lot of psychological experts that have found that this is the best way to siphon money and probably develop gaming addictions through, just so people can constantly stick to video games. I'll be real though, I don't really much enjoy the Overwatch 2 live service components. Hell, I don't like most live service stuff anyways. So basically the talking point is with PvE that you basically aren't doing it. I would characterize it slightly differently. We are doing part of what the team had set out to do, but not the entire...
You know what? Since everyone's reading this, it's not fair for me to just watch everyone's, and I should just do it myself, right? Okay. We're gonna go through it all, and if you watch this far, I don't know why, but you just probably are as frustrated as I am. Overwatch, we're just gonna read it all. Sorry I have a shitty voice, but it's happening. We'll blow it up a little bit. Okay. Overwatch is a game that rose from the ashes of Titan, an ambitious MMO that Blizzard pulled the plug on. In the wake of this decision, developers at the studio reworked ideas they had for Titan into what would become Overwatch, a hero-based multiplayer shooter that was critically acclaimed and hugely successful. Blizzard's Team 4 is no stranger to picking up the pieces of a shattered project, but this process has been kept behind closed doors. The Blizzard way was to keep games out of the public view until they were ready to be seen and to release them only as when they were close to the ideal vision as they could possibly be. This isn't the way anymore. Not for Overwatch 2 anyway. When the sequel of Overwatch was announced at BlizzCon 2019, where the game was playable, it was a promise of a PvE hero component that would allow players to gather their squads and play through a narrative-driven multiplayer experience. On top of that, each of the heroes they'd come to know and love would be reworked for PvE and given a progression system that would allow players to unlock new talents. It was an ambitious new mode that in many ways was used to justify the 2 at the end of the title. Now, however, Blizzard has confirmed the promised PvE hero component will not be released at all. In a video game, director Aaron Keller and the executive producer Jared Naes, whatever, said that the team had made the decision to take the PvE elements out of Overwatch 2 in a different direction in a detailed roadmap for upcoming seasons that reveal a new hero, maps, rebalances, and a number of story-focused additions. Okay. According to Keller News, this decision was made for the good of the game and its live multiplayer component. It was made for money, because they wanted more money for the live multiplayer component, because that's how they make their money. Whether this proves to be true will be judged based on the execution of the upcoming seasons detailed in its new roadmap. But regardless of this, Blizzard and Team 4 pitched an experience that won't be realized, which will no doubt confuse and frustrate players. Yeah, it's like when they, what was her, fuck, I can't think of her name right now. Susan, no, that's the lady that was in charge of 343. I cannot think of the name right now, but she came out, said, yeah, we fucked up with Halo 5. There was no couch co-op. It's like every Halo now will have couch co-op going forward. Guess what? I'm not going to tell you the punchline because you already know. Shit, I can't think of her name. I'm sorry. Whether this proves to be true, okay, I read that. GameSpot spoke to Keller News about what led to this decision and how Team 4 intends to try and make something good rise from the ashes of a failed idea once again. Why is it so fucking difficult to make that when we already have games like that? Like, we have Borderlands, we have Destiny, there's shit, I can't think of the other, the Division. I think I've never played it, but I think it's that kind of same loot kind of grind aspect to it. Never played it, but people can make it. It can be done. Are just people not that talented at Blizzard? We have people working at WoW that have made WoW. That's a fucking amazing game. Big anyway, and it works. Overwatch is a hero arena shooter with balance. It's not that complicated compared to a WoW, you know, like a World of Warcraft. Like, just realistically, so the vastness of that game. I'm not a game developer, but whenever I see game developers make things, I then know it's possible to do that. So when other people don't live up to the expectation that we've seen other people do, it's a clear maybe sign of ability not being realized, management, both. I don't know. And I've said that about 343. Either they just don't have the ability and they cannot deliver us what they said on time, or it's a big management thing. It's probably a mixture of the two. That just is the reality of the situation, because we've seen companies give us what they promised. So it is possible. Just saying, like, it is. It's not like some kind of overwhelming event that we haven't seen, some new thing. But whatever. All right, let's keep going. The big talking point is, GameSpot says, the big talking point is the direction you're taking with the PVE, that you basically aren't doing this. Is this the correct way to characterize it? It's not happening anymore and you've pivoted away from it. Aaron says, I think I would characterize it slightly differently. Again, we've seen the other people talk about this, but I'm going to do it myself. We're doing part of what the team had set out to do, but not entirely what was discussed back in BlizzCon 2019. So the real focus is on story missions and that experience, as opposed to a more open-ended hero mode and that stuff. I've said it till I'm blue in the face. We've had that. It's called archive missions. We've had some similar thing, Junkenstein, which I guess technically isn't a story mission, but, or kind of maybe. Anyway, the point is, we've had this. How is this going to be any different than an archive mission? You're going to let us keep playing it? Hopefully. It's right to say that the experience you showed during the first Overwatch 2 reveal is not going to be the one that will be released at any point. Yeah, exactly. So we're definitely not doing hero mode, the talents, and the power progression system. Just matter-of-factly. When did you realize you weren't going to be able to execute this in the way, and what was it that led to that realization? Yeah, this was a process. The development of any game is a process. In the years following our announcement at BlizzCon 2019, we had a really large portion of our team working on the PvE side of that game, and I think players of our live running game could feel that because we eventually stopped making content for it. Yeah, we were told that by Jeff Kaplan. They're like, yeah, you know, this stuff is going to not be as readily available because we're doing that. We knew that. That was communicated clearly to us, and people were like, okay, that's fine. We have a perfectly fine game right now. We're okay. We'll just wait for it. Good things come to those who wait. Apparently not. On the video game industry. Well, that's not true. Tears of the Kingdom. But I digress. Okay. It's been maybe 2.5 years since the last hero that we launched, and we don't want to be back at the point where there's another 3.5 years since launching a PvP map. So we really looked hard at what we were doing with the live game in service of this much bigger thing that we were working on, hoping to release later. The interesting thing about that is it's such a difference releasing content for players that are playing your game instead of saving up all of that content for one big release you're going to do later. So we came to the realization that this wasn't the right way to be developing for all of Overwatch. It was about 1.5 years ago that we made the decision to really shift this strategy. Why the fuck are we just hearing about it now? Why are we hearing about this shit right now? It's been 1.5 years, and then Blizzard's like, oh, we're gonna be more open with the community, we're gonna have better PR, we're gonna connect with the community more, this and that and the other. Why the fuck did this take 1.5 years when 2 years ago you said that you would be connecting more with the community? Tell me that. Why the fuck did that not happen? Whatever. Okay. That's when we shifted our team to work on launching Overwatch 2, and that's what came out last October. But at the same time, what we came away with from that first experience was a new value for developing Overwatch. It was a new value for running the team, namely to always be putting out fresh, exciting, fun new experiences for our player. As we were running up to launching Overwatch 2, we realized that we could not build that other game. We couldn't save up all that content over the course of what was looking to be at least the next several years to finish it, and by doing that, pulling more and more resources away from the people that were all playing our game, and all the people that would be playing Overwatch 2. Okay, so here he talks about all the people that were all playing our game and all the people that would be playing Overwatch 2. Our game, I assume, means Overwatch 1. And he's talking about, yeah, and all the future people that'll be playing Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 is Overwatch 1. We cannot go back and play Overwatch 1. Overwatch 1 no longer exists. We only have Overwatch 2. So do not say that we have these people playing Overwatch 1 and these people playing Overwatch 2. It's all the same fucking people. Why are they jerking people around with this? Why? Why the fuck are they doing that? Unless I'm misreading. Let's read it again. Pulling more and more resources away from the people that were all playing our game and all the people that would be playing Overwatch 2. It's the same motherfucking game. Fine. We made a decision later last year that we would focus all of our efforts on the live running game and all of our PvE efforts on this new story arc that we're launching in Season 6. I swear to God, if it's one mission with pre-described players like these archive events are, and I know it's going to be. I know it is. Fucking know it is. But okay. On top of that, we want to keep all of our PvE efforts, all of our co-op efforts invested in our seasonal releases rather than one big boxed release. They want to sell more battle passes, and I've watched Stylos' video, and he seems to be on the no more so than the general public that this story mission arc thing will be related to battle pass in some way, shape, or form. It's all about the money, and I get it, you want to make money, but if that's all you do, people are going to fucking abandon ship. Like, I have no intention of playing Overwatch 2 now. I just don't. I've been playing like every day since release of Overwatch 1. I'm tired of being jerked around. There's billions of other games out there that you could play. If you don't keep on your promises, then why the fuck did you make them in the first place? Anyway, presumably the resources, time, and other necessities that you would have needed to make PVE were factored in when you originally came up with the plan to create this game. What has changed since then, now that you're in a position where you can't do it? He says, I guess the general answer, this is a general answer, but I think it's totally applicable here. When you make a plan originally, it's based on a general idea and direction. Then you develop as a game. It's not developing a piece of bank software or something where there's a finite set of functions it has to have. When you get into the meat of it and you start feeling out, it's like, okay, well, is this fun? Is it good? Is it an original idea? The thing that we think is going to be awesome? And then you iterate on that until you find something you're really excited about. Once you're kind of in that, okay, we have a good idea in what direction this could go in. The question is, what does it take to get there? And so I think we're building a game where you're taking the exact same engine, the exact same team, the exact same crew that has already shipped the thing, and you're doing version 3 or version 4 of it. It's pretty easy to plan well in advance, but for games like this, it's tougher because the team is building something totally different than anything they built before. Well, the missions, right? These story missions are significantly different than the archives or other ways that we've told in the game before. How? I fucking guarantee you it's not different. I guarantee it. And so developing those, what it takes to do that, the technology required, the people required, the iteration required is all different. So I understand that people think it's probably relatively simple. It's definitely not, and especially what you don't want is to try to build a thing, get it out the door, and move on. You want to build something that resonates and that people love. So I guess my take is, just as the team learned more about what it took to make this, as it learned more about the time, the iteration, technology required, it just became clear that the schedule wasn't going to work. If we don't have a progression system, talent system, overarching storyline, if we are taking our characters as they are, running through a story mission, how is that any fucking different than Archive? Is it longer? Hopefully. Are they different, bigger maps? They fucking better be. I bet they won't be, though. How is that different from Archives? This would have been a really, really good place to tell us that. Been a really fucking good place to tell us how this is going to be different than the PVE, any kind of PVE stuff that we've ever seen in Overwatch before. Like, because nowhere in my mind, I cannot think of a world in which these new story missions are going to be something totally radically different than anything we've done before. Are you putting in like in-game cutscenes and making the characters do stuff? I guess, you know, like every other shooter ever in the history of everything has already done. But fair. All right. So, so you don't want to try and build a thing just to get it out the door and move on. Nobody's done that. In fact, Blizzard has never been known for that. Maybe other industry, like people in the industry have, but Blizzard hasn't. Why are you saying that we expect that from Blizzard? We expect them to take their time, get it right. So I guess my team is just as the team. So my take is just as the team learned more about what it took to make this, about learned more about it at the time, the iteration technology, it just became clear that the schedule wasn't going to work. I said that. Keller says, yeah, I think the scope of the hero missions was really, really large, and what it was take to finish was going to be a pretty remarkable, massive lift. You think about making a game that is supposed to be almost its own standalone co-op experience, and people are going to play that as a main game, and not just how do you put all of our current content into that to finish it. Even if it's just a small piece of it, the talent trees, 40 to 50 talents per hero, over 35 plus heroes, you're looking at thousands of talents just to make everything to get the game out the door, plus all the content and the missions you'd be playing to do that, and it's a pretty gargantuan task for a team. And then on top of that, you need to run that as a live game, so content has to continually come out for that side of the game. Nobody's saying 40 or 50 talents per hero. Nobody's ever said that. If that does not work, don't do it. Also, we don't need to use all 35 heroes. You can give us a select pool of heroes, 10 heroes, whatever. Follow Overwatch, follow Blackwatch, follow the Omnics, follow whatever. Destiny has done that. It's Destiny put out Destiny 2, Destiny 1, Destiny 2, and then they made expansions with story content that added on to that. The talent trees and stuff in Destiny, that's, you know, we get a little bit of a different thing, you know, if you're gonna be a warlock. I haven't played Destiny 2 in forever. Fuck, maybe I'll start playing that again. They have different feelings of things, they have different loot and everything. Nobody's wanting 40 or 50 talents per hero over all of the heroes. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, if that was too big, cut it down and then release fairly large things like Destiny or Borderlands or anything. It can be done. And then whatever. You're looking at thousands of talents to make it. It's a pretty gargantuan ask for a team, really, because other teams have done it that are lesser than Blizzard teams, but maybe not. I guess not. And then on top of that, you need to run that as a live game, so content has to continually come out for that side of the game. Bungie's doing it. Bungie's done it. I mean, yeah, if we haven't seen proof of concept before, this would be a crazy difficult, but we've seen it. Games have been made like this. So whatever. In reality, we were looking at running two separate games at the same time with a set of heroes as the piece that is shared between the two of them. And as we started to get further and further into it, obviously our players could realize that we were pulling focus away from the live game, and it just didn't look like there was a definitive end date in sight where we could finally put our stamp on it, or the end date was years away. It no longer felt like we could be doing that to our players, or we could do that to the live game that we were running. And that's when we took a moment to shift strategy and put everything into the live game. I'm sorry, I keep saying it. Destiny did it. Halo fucking did it. Halo has a great campaign. It's a little bit dull. There's not a lot of changing scenery. Halo did it. It's not like this is the first time that you're putting out a shooter with a campaign and multiplayer. It's not unheard of. In fact, it's expected. Except for Overwatch 2. All of his stuff right here, it's just not holding water. It just does not hold water. Like let's go on. I think there's always been a lot of frustration around how we got here, because Overwatch has always been a live game. So people are gonna think, well, you knew this was a live game, yet you pitched this other Overwatch game, and you also justified the 2-1 Overwatch title with that. So we're in a situation now where the game is what it has always been. It's evolved in some ways, but a sequel was released, and that sequel's justification hinged on PVE. Why did that happen? That's a great question. We've talked a lot about Overwatch 2 and how it's different from the original game, even just being free to play and swapping from a 5-to-5 team format. That is not a fucking sequel. That is not a goddamn sequel. You are dropping a player, rebalancing, and free to play. That's not a sequel. That's just fucking not a sequel. In what way is that a sequel? And all the new content we've developed for it, you developed 3 characters. Well, to be fair, we got Ramatra and Lifeweaver. So we got, what, 5 characters? Do these people know what a sequel is? If anything, this is an expansion, I guess. With 3, at this point, 5 characters. It's not a sequel. It's not what a sequel means in gaming. Or in movies. Let's say that, okay, I put out Fellowship of the Ring. And then I'm going to put out the extended edition of Fellowship of the Ring. Is that the sequel to it? Is that the sequel to Fellowship of the Ring? Whenever I put out Fellowship of the Ring and then I add 40 minutes to it, make it longer, is that Fellowship of the Ring 2? Tell me. Is that Fellowship of the Ring 2? I don't know. It's not a fucking sequel. Sorry, it's just not. A sequel is Tears of the Kingdom. A sequel is Halo 2. A sequel is Borderlands 2. A sequel is Destiny 2. This is not a sequel in any way, shape, or form. I can voice it after I'm done with this. Some shit came out that I'm super pissed at. We have a new support hero coming out that season. We have new game mode. We've never released a new mode as a seasonal update ever in Overwatch. But it doesn't matter. And actually they've released Capture the Flag, and they've released Team Deathmatch. All of those have been competitive too. This is right here is a flat out lie. This is a fucking flat out lie right here. It has 2 new maps coming out with Flashpoint, which we don't even know what Flashpoint is. I'm not holding my breath. Also, they took 2 CP away from us. So really, they gave us new shit that's arguably worse or just as bad as 2 CP. And they took away the shit that we wanted. So fair enough. We're running a PVE event that season. We've done that with archives. They say it's going to be different, but how? Doesn't matter. We have a whole new type of PVE content that we're releasing with single player hero mastery missions. We don't know what that is. It sounds like a break the targets from Melee, where they're going to run through some stages that probably doesn't have a story in any way, shape, or form, but it is a player versus environment type of deal. Overwatch Anniversary is running another event. Yeah, we've gotten those before. Nobody that's not new. That does not qualify this to be a sequel. And then on top of that, we've got a new story arc with new missions, cinematics, and lore, such as Lore Codex. Okay, story missions, again, we've had the archives. Tell me how they're different. Cinematics, we expected. You've been doing them. Well, in Overwatch 1, you did them much more with every hero that got launched, or nearly every hero, but Overwatch 2, you haven't done that. So I don't know about that. And the Lore Codex, fine. It's packed into this one season. This is the future of what we're trying to bring to Overwatch 2. Future of broken lies and promises. Fantastic. That's what I hope players can take away from this experience, the shift in the way that we want to develop for this game and what we want to put out for our players. Well, you haven't even got the goddamn battle pass right, because Fortnite and every other game in existence does it better. So maybe fix that first, but fuck it. You can't expect anyone to do anything over at Blizzard now. And again, I'm no developer, but there are hundreds of games that have done this the same way. Yeah, I build on that a little bit. It's an interesting take, thinking about this over time, coming to the team a little bit later and seeing the things and planning that and building that plan to go forward, because the original pitch was this big monolithic thing that releases. It is all this pressure and expectations set against it, and really the decision that we've made was not to walk away from PvE or totally sort of abandon this side of the game. It's to move it into a model we can know that we can deliver on. No, it's not moving it into a model, it's scrapping this thing and putting out probably I don't want to say that, missions that will have no replayable quality to them. I think it's fair to say. We know that if we get into the seasonal cadence, we can release things during seasons in a way that we can plan for effectively in what we think is going to be really exciting to players. That, more to the point, gives us the time to adapt the next thing for players before you release it. And I think moving away from this idea of this one big singular PvE release moment into we're going to do PvE stuff all the time. We have these plans. Nobody's saying, like, God, we were okay with like PvE shit that was doled out like over time. Like, fuck, like, don't even do like a big game, you know, make it like how big an expansion would be in, again, Destiny 2, and release those like year and a half or something like that. Like, we've known that they were gonna do like a seasonal release over that, like an episodic release. Episodes, fucking all the Telltale games have done that shit. It's shit. Everything I've read does not hold water with this. It just doesn't, because we've seen it fucking done before. We've seen it done. For me, that's the really important thing. We want to acknowledge that it's not the thing people were expecting. Well, good for you. And we have high confidence that we can deliver in the way that we're shifting now, which is, for us, is really exciting. You can never ask anyone to take your word for it, so the hope is once we start releasing this stuff in Season 6, players can see it and believe it too. Yeah, I hope you keep the community for that long, because you kind of fucking nuclear bombed yourself on this one. We were talking about it the other day about live events and things like that in the game, and Aaron, off the top of his head, rattled off how many live events Overwatch 1 generally had in season. In a year, it was 6 or something. Now it's 3 a season of varying sizes, and we have all these seasons in a year. For us, it just feels better on this path. No, we can consistently release updates to players and tell a story in an ongoing, unfolding way, and not wait for a big singular moment. That's fine. Then do that. But give us our talents. Give us shit that'll carry over. Give us stuff like that. Why? I mean, oh, we got 35 players, and that's going to be like hundreds of talents or thousands of talents. So we're not going to do that. We're going to release it episodically. The counterpoint is, why can't you do that and release the talents episodically? Like release characters in this overarching event that has these talents and put them in there. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. We can't do it all at once, so we're gonna make it episodic. Okay, well, so you're gonna take what you've said and just give it to us in little chunks? No, we're not gonna be doing that. It's a big fucking middle finger to everybody. The fuck is... Hold on. Why is my live chat? They just fucking gave everyone the middle finger of player versus the PVE that they based Overwatch 2 on. Today, they dropped it. They're like, yeah, we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be having talents. We're not going to be having a whole big campaign. We're going to be releasing story missions every other season. But we've already got that with archive missions, except the fact that they only come around once a year and we can't play them. But those archive missions told the story of the characters before Overwatch came about. They're like, oh, this is going to be different. How? Fuck, they didn't say it. We're not getting talents. We're not getting anything. I'm like so fucking pissed because I play this game every fucking day. I have since it launched. A lot of people are fucking pissed too. I'm going over this. What they say holds no water. We've seen it in Borderlands. I know I'm repeating myself like a fucking million times. We've seen it in Borderlands. Borderlands did it. We've seen it in Destiny 2. They did it. The Division. They did it. Games that released episodically. The Telltale games. Any of this shit. It's not new. And they're like, oh, we can't expect to run a multiplayer game and a single player game. Multiplayer shooter and a single player shooter. Really? Every fucking game in the history of shooters has had a single player and a multiplayer. Do I need to rattle off like 50 fucking thousand FPS games that has that? And then the shit that they put out, the Star Watch, it's fucking god awful. And if that's what we have to look forward to for their story missions, nobody wants it. God, I'm so fucking angry. It's a great question. Oh wait, here we go. There's a lot of love for live first-person shooters out there, and you have been competing for competition. The thing about Overwatch 2 that really was exciting for me and for a lot of the fan base was PVE. It's a big swing for the team. The distinguishing factor of Overwatch 2. What is the impact of not having that, and what would you describe as the big swing for Overwatch 2 now? It's a great question. One of the things that we've loved about Overwatch, and I think it resonates with the players, is the universe and the world that we've created. Yes, everyone loves it. You fucking fumbled it. Good job. All the heroes we've created and all the heroes and characters that inhabit it. The Overwatch universe is this bright, inspirational future that I think all of our heroes really resonate with players. Not just who their characters are covered, not just who their characters are, but their backstory and their lore. I think a lot of people are invested in Overwatch PvE or Overwatch co-op content is because we're not really able to deliver a ton of that story in our game with just standard PvP gameplay. No fucking shit. So I think that for us, the side of PvE that we really wanted to continue running with this is Overwatch 6 or Season 6. It's the start of this big narrative where players do get to find out more about Overwatch, and they do get to find out more about what's happening in the world and what's happening with a lot of the characters in the game. So we're really committed to the PvE side of the game and delivering that story. Again, you've done that with archives. I don't know how many fucking times I have to say archive missions. They've already fucking done it. It's not a new thing. This is some fucking Halo Infinite shit. Halo Infinite didn't even launch with Slayer. Like, what is going on with games? On top of that, we have multiple cinematics coming out this year to either help set up the story and we'll be telling in Season 6, or to further some of these characters that we're working on, and there's more to come. Yeah, we've had that since day fucking one in Overwatch. We've had cinematic events. In fact, we've had a lot more cinematic events in the time that Overwatch came out than in the time that Overwatch quote-unquote 2 came out. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but whatever. Another one that we're doing is our lore codex, where players will be able to, if they want to dig into a lot more of what the universe is about. Yeah, we already have that. The community's put that together. It's an Overwatch wiki. Literally everything that you could ever want to know is there. So that's nothing new that we haven't seen. So I hope players can see that we're committed to PvE and we're doing more with the story than we've ever done before. I sure fucking hope so. We're doing it in a different way than what we originally talked about. Sure. One of the most exciting things for players when they saw the PvE was the characters, and you were really pitching interesting different ways of using their abilities that seemed specific to PvE. It felt exciting to have this twist on heroes. Is any of that coming back, and is there going to be opportunities in the PvE modes to play these characters differently, or is it going to be largely familiar heroes but a new context? We would love to see more of that in the game, and while that was being the key word there, an integral part of our hero missions, we're no longer doing those, so those won't come into the game that way. Fucking great. Thank you. Then what? How is this different than anything else? I'm repeating myself. I should fucking record myself and just play that. But we put a lot of work into our hero talents, and there were a lot of really exciting things, just not with the gameplay, but with the fantasy of what a hero was when we could start interacting with a hero in that way. So we would like to bring those back in the future. It's just going to take a different form than being part of a new co-op game experience. What the fuck does that mean? That is a whole bunch of word salad that has nothing to do with anything. We liked our hero talents, but we're not going to be doing that. But they're going to come in a different form later. Are you not doing it? Are they coming later? Like, are those the hero mastery things? So we can see how fucking cool all their talents would have been? But fuck you. Like, here, go into this whatever arena and look at all the cool shit that you could have been doing in an actual co-op PvE game campaign. More broadly speaking, you've probably done a lot of work on the PvE. How much of all of that is going to make it into PvP or repurposed? I know people often think repurposed is bad, but at least it'd be in the game. I agree with that. There's a lot that went to developing PvE, and it's not just the content we made. Some of this is tools and technology. So if you look at Junkenstein's Wrath of the Bride from last year, that was using all of our new mission technology that we had developed for Overwatch 2. What new technology are they fucking talking about? And given that, if that is the PvE way they're going, fuck that. Like, fuck it. You play it twice, 3 times maybe to get all your shit. And then it's done. Nobody gives a fuck about any of that. Most of the stuff, May Snowball fight, sure, fun once or twice. Junkenstein, sure, whatever. Lucio Ball, maybe there's 10 people out there that play Lucio Ball. I don't know. Nobody gives a fuck about that. If they want to play Lucio Ball, they're going to go and play Rocket League, like the better game. Lucio Ball is like a shadow of an imitation of a copy of Rocket League. Anyway, let's continue. There's a lot that went into develop. Okay, I already read that. The PvE content that we develop in the future is going to be using all the technology and tools that we created before. It'll be using new enemy ecologies that we've developed for Overwatch 2. What the fuck does that mean? Are you going to have biomes that are persistent enemy ecologies? No. They're going to be spawned at particular points and you gotta know where they are. What the fuck are they talking about, enemy ecologies? Or maybe I'm thinking of ecosystems. Those are like related, I think, right? I don't know, fuck it. It's a lot of big story mission maps that are going to be coming with it. Okay, well, I hope so. The maps better be big and they better not just be repurposed fucking multiplayer maps. That's fine for a little, you know, fun diversion here or there. They better be substantial. You know, we've talked a lot about have a lot of plans of the different ways we can bring some of the other content forward, whether it's talents for heroes or even some missions that we started developing for release, but it's all going to be coming out seasonally and in a different form with a different purpose than what we had before. So we would like to repurpose some of it, and we'd use that technology to build a bunch of new stuff also for us. Yeah, I think the breadth of experiences that we've been able to deliver this year are significantly different and more interesting than a lot of the live events that Overwatch 1 had. That is factually 1,000,000,000% false. I've played them all. They are not different from Overwatch 1. Maybe you're making it more difficult for yourself to develop them, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, let's see. And a lot of this non-canonical stuff like Battle for Olympus, where we're augmenting hero abilities. Man, we've been doing this since Overwatch 1. The community has done it with your workshop. This is not new. Why are they telling us it's new? It's not at all in any way. What they need to do is give us Forge, and we'll make our fucking own missions with our own talents and shit like that. They need to give us a Halo Forge type thing. And nobody wants this non-canonical shit. Any resources devoted for shit like this can be devoted into the story. So that's another thing. It's like, oh, we couldn't do that. You know, we couldn't make our big campaign. But here's Battle of Olympus that apparently is new and amazing and took a long time to create. Why wasn't that energy focused on the story? The campaign narrative that we wanted, that the hero trees and talent trees and stuff. Anyway, things like that are what you should expect to see a lot more of in the future. Nobody fucking cares. Everyone like unanimously hates Star Watch. It's boring. Nobody cares. All of the events that are cycled, maybe they're changed slightly. I don't know. Is this person playing a different game than I am? Is that what's happening? Am I playing like some kind of bootleg Overwatch 2? Whatever. PVE, whether stated goal or not, was looking like a tool to broaden the appeal of the game. The thinking being that people who can't or didn't enjoy playing online competitive environments could do so in single player co-op and have this interesting, unique experience. Yeah, not everyone likes PvP. Like, I know a ton of people that love Overwatch. They don't play it. They don't play it. They have no interest in playing the game. They love the lore and the characters. This PvE, here we go. That means Overwatch player base diversifies and grows. What does axing PvP or PvE and reintroducing some of those ideas into the PvP framework mean for the ambition of broadening the appeal of Overwatch and getting new players in? It was. That's why everyone's so fucking pissed. Like, Overwatch 2, we're giving you the multiplayer now, which again, exactly what Halo Infinite did. Fucking exactly. It's textbook what Halo Infinite did. At least Halo Infinite. Oh, that game fucking sucked with the multiplayer. This is like the reverse of that. Anyway. They did that to call it Overwatch 2, and now they're not doing it. Those motherfuckers need to take the 2 off of Overwatch 2. At least they'd save some face, because this is not a sequel to a game. It's not. Anyway, what does axing those mean for the ambition of broadening the appeal of Overwatch and getting new players in? Yeah, that's a really interesting one for me, because I think if you only enjoy single player or PvP or PvE only experiences, then the Overwatch is going to be a little bit tough for you right now. Basically giving the middle finger to people that don't like to play multiplayer. That's all it is. It's all it is. It's going to be tough right now. I've never fucking heard more corporate talk than that. It's like, you're shit out of luck. Just tell people, you like single player? You like PvE? Well, fuck off. Go play another game. They should have said that. That's what they effectively did. But once we get in this sort of mindset of frequently releasing PvP and PvE content, where every single season has something really interesting for people to play and a lot of variety, I think that can be a good jumping off point for people who may not love hyper sweaty PvP matches, or who just want to see some cool story content with characters that they like or whatever. Love it. Like, yeah, whatever. They'll see some cool stuff. I don't know, maybe, I guess. I don't think I've ever been this angry at a fucking development team ever in my life. For me, it's the combination of being free to play now, which is inherently removing a pretty big barrier for a lot of people who can't spend the money to buy expensive games, combined with the fact that we're trying to diversify every single season to have a bunch of different experiences that people can jump into. So if you're the kind of person who wants to grind competitive, that's totally cool. If you're the kind of person that wants to come in and play some arcade, this is a cool co-op mode for seasonal event that I can do. That's awesome. We want there to be a lot more there. It's a weird sentence. Yeah, but are they going to take it away in like a week? Like, oh, here's your new story mission. Nah, you got 10 days to play it. It's what we've seen so far. Why would I expect anything different? So while I don't see us bringing the huge audience PvE diehard shooter players, I do see us bringing a really appealing game for anyone who loves fun shooters and likes to learn new heroes and try different stuff. So yeah, it's a different approach, but I think our goal is to just make the game as welcoming as possible for a group as broad as possible. Dude, gaming is in a dark fucking day. Okay, we're nearly done. PvE was a big Overwatch 2, so people are going to think, well, those devs are going to get laid off or move somewhere. That's true. What's the impact of not doing PvE anymore to have on the team? As a person who spends most of his time talking about organizational issues, one of the really cool things is we're able to take a bunch of people who have awesome expertise in building new enemy types. What? New enemy types, big PvE missions and big PvE worlds, and integrate them into a live team, live game team. I don't know what they mean by that, with everybody else on the team. So instead of having this big monolithic PvE side of the team and having a PvP side of the team, we're now sort of bringing everything together into a group that's focused on what is our live experience, what is a season over season experience, how do we have people who specialize in PvP and who specialize in PvE work together to create these awesome things. What does that mean? Like, we have people that specialize in PvE. We also have people that specialize in PvP. But hey, we're bringing those people together. So instead of having a team working on PvE and a team working on PvE, there's going to be this one team that is specialized in PvE aspects and that's specialized in PvP aspects. How the fuck is that different than anything that they just said? That is like... What? This motherfucker knows his... I'll give him props for that. He knows his corporate talk. So there's no adverse impact on the team. We weren't letting people go who are working on PvE. On the contrary, we're excited to bring them together with the rest of the folks working on events to figure out how do we use your unique superpower to create an awesome thing for a season. How do we use your superpower to create something for a season? Again, that worries me. Are they going to take this shit away? That sounds like it. So we're working on these roadmaps. They're longer and longer, and all these people are involved. I actually think it's super exciting from a development and a how do you have a team structured perspective. And I think there's a lot more we could do with the person's powers combined than what we could do before. What the fuck does that even mean? If you have certain people working on PvE and certain people working on PvP, how is that different? It's not. Blizzard has always been a studio that puts out high quality games, and if a game isn't going to make it, we just never see it. R.I.P. StarCraft Ghost. It's always been kind of the way it is. It's a very rare look at a process where you tried something, you realized you failed. How do you think that reflects on you as a team, a company, and as a studio? The reply: every team at Blizzard is a little bit different. Team 4 is unique in a lot of ways. One of the ways that I think the team is unique in the direction we're heading is just this push to be much more open and much more honest about what they're developing, and much more transparent in what's working and what's working and what's not. I guess it's a typo. Since I've joined, it's been a big push. Aaron is writing blogs every 2 weeks about how the game is going and what's changing. We have a lot of people from the team out on social talking about the details of this stuff. When people complain about matchmaking issues, Morgan is right there answering all of your questions on Twitter. That's perfectly fine, but I can scroll up a few paragraphs before, a couple paragraphs before, and they were saying that they knew this shift happened 1.5 years ago. So do not fucking piss on me and call it rain whenever you're saying, oh yeah, we're being much more transparent. We've known about this shit 1.5 years. They themselves, the developers, said that. We've known this shift happened about 1.5 years ago. Here they're saying, oh yeah, it's a big push. We're being much more open. No, you're fucking not. You're just not. You're not. And it's bullshit that they do this. I hope it signals a shift in the team and the mentality of our part of the company that is really just about building this experience alongside players as opposed to building it on our own and then handing it over to the players. So what I really want to see is some sort of co-development model, for lack of a better way to put it, and grow over time. Yeah, we have that. It's called early access mode. In fact, they have that right now. It's called the public test server. This is not new. Public test server has been up since like right after Overwatch 1 launched, I think, or very soon after that. This is not new. It's not the kind of thing where you can give you the tablet that is there. Please play this incredible thing and enjoy. We want every single season to be built to be something that is built on the learnings from previous seasons and all the feedback that we got from players before. So my hope is that it signals a really healthy shift in the way that we develop and release the game. Okay, they want to listen to the community. They want to make changes. They want to bring the game in the way that the community wants it. Well, the community wants a fucking campaign and some talents and some progression in that. You're gonna listen to that? Fuck no, they're not gonna listen to that. So fuck all of this shit that they just said. Keller says, there's a reason why we are being more transparent here. We want to give players more context into our developmental process. Oh yeah, the thing that happened a year and a half ago? Fantastic. And we want to have more context around why we have made this decision. It was a painful decision for the team. Oh, it was so painful. It was so painful. It's so painful that Halo Infinite didn't have a couch co-op. It hurt them to their core. Fuck off. Fuck all of the way off. If off is over here, you fuck the exact opposite place that off is. So we're all very hold on. It was really hard for us to make this experience. We're all very passionate about the things that we work on, and we're all really passionate about the game, and part of the passion is to ensure that everything we're making is right for our audience. Blizzard has this way of being so fucking condescending in telling us what we want. Like, everyone wanted a WoW Classic. Nah, the developers, those motherfuckers sat on stage, says, yeah, we've played WoW Classic. Like, I promise you don't want to play that again. You know what? It's like completely blew away the what do they call it? Like the live server WoW, whenever they launched WoW Classic. It's like, no, you don't want to play that. You don't remember how awful it is. Fuck off them telling me what I like. Diablo Immortal, I could bring up Red Shirt Guy. I could bring up the guy that was like, yeah, it's some cool stuff. Can we see any of this, you know, integrating into PC? They're like, nah, mobile only. Trust us. Listening to the community. Fuck off. Fuck off. So what I hope people can take away from the roadmap, the video we released, and some things like this interview is that, yes, we know it's tough times when games change or when things are reduced in scope, but at the same time, the people that are playing our game right now are playing a PvP game. What? What? It's tough times when games change or things are reduced in scope. Nothing's changed. I mean, to be completely fair, I guess they're talking about the PVE thing, but that hasn't come out. What you've delivered to us technically qualifies as change, I guess, for PvP, but really it's not. Nothing has changed. It's the same game. Like, things have been altered, which I know, again, technically that is changed, but by and large, the game is still the same. Nothing has changed. You know what would have changed? If they gave us a fucking campaign mode, that would have changed. And that would not have been a hard time because everyone was fucking looking for that. Okay, anyway. Things changed, reduced in scope, but at the same time, the people that are playing our game right now are playing a PvP game. What the fuck does that even mean? That doesn't even compute in my head. I mean, I have taken enough sleeping pills to like down a horse, but still. That makes no sense to me. My belief is the reason they're playing a PvP game is because they like that kind of game that they're playing. Oh, really? You have a PvP game there? Where people like to play online multiplayer? Oh my god. Man, all of the PvE people, they don't like playing PvP games. like it's circular logic here. If you only give us a PvP game, then that's what the people that like that kind of game are going to be playing. Right? Like, if you give us a PvP game and be like, oh, people that hate this kind of game. They're playing that. What is, that's nonsense. It's gibberish. My belief is that they're playing a PvP game because they like that game that they're playing. I think I'm going to have a stroke from reading that, or a brain aneurysm or something. So it's up to us as a development team to continue to make that game as good as it can possibly be. And that's the real story here. How do we take the resources we have, the team that we have that is so passionate about the game, to make what people are already playing the very best version that it can be? It's our focus right now, and I hope that's the takeaway from... That's our focus right now, and that's what I hope the takeaway from this can be. One last thing. It's all fucking broken promises. That's all it is. That's all it is. And the fact that they waited so long, a year and a half, to tell us, and they're pissing on us, calling it rain, telling us that we're being more transparent. It's not. It's just not. Okay, I went over this a little bit earlier, but we can do it again. Roadmap. This is their fantastic roadmap. What does this say back to top? Season 5. Again, I know I've said this, I mentioned this earlier, but Quest Watch, a new limited time event, like Star Watch, I'm assuming. And nobody likes it. Go on any Overwatch YouTube channel. People are like, yeah, it was not very fun. Maybe once or twice. Otherwise, it's incredibly tedious and unfun. Like, also, the people, there was an event, I forget which one it was. I think it was May's Snowball Fight. It could have been something else, where we had to grind for, I think it was a skin, and every game just evolved into like the teams talking with one another, because I think you had to get like so many like headshots or kills or something in a particular mode. We just came there, we're like, hey, I still need this thing to complete the event. And they're like, oh, okay. And they would just let us kill them, and they'd respawn, and the other team would be like, you know, him and him, they need such and such, and we're like, okay. We just let each other like kill each other to get the event over with, because only anyone ever wanted the skin. Like, nobody gave a fuck about the event. Nobody wanted to play it. They only played it because, ooh, shiny new skin. So whatever. Mischief and Magic, again, I assume this is gonna be their battle pass, some kind of like, I don't know, magic wizard shit. Which their battle passes are like, oh yeah, we are centered around one type of thing. And then like in the battle pass, you get these wacky things that have nothing to do with anything. Like the most recent Olympic one. There was some weird fucking shit. It's like, why is this in there? And then they release stuff on the store to get people to buy, because that's really clearly what it's about. Okay, a cinematic reveal. This should not be on here. I mean, I know why they put it on there, so they can say, look at all the shit we're having. Yeah, we've had this. This is Overwatch 1. We expect this. Don't put it on there, just do it. But whatever. And then we have summer games. Nobody gives a flying fuck about Lucio Ball. Then we have 5v5 mini comp season. I don't even know what that is. What is mini comp? Anyway, On Fire returns, like when the characters do real well, they're like, I'm on fire. You know what the funny thing about that is that that's already in the system, because you can hear the characters say, wow, I'm on fire, in the middle of the match. So like clearly that function of how they get on fire is still there. They just removed the blue flames, and now they're gonna add them back. I don't know why that's going to take 5 seasons to have that back in there, but sure. Creator Workshop mode, again, we've already had that in Overwatch 1. This is a clear-cut sign of them cutting shit from the older game and then bringing that cut shit back into the current game and telling you it's new. So, whatever. Why do I have 0 kilobytes a second? My internet go out or something? Okay, that's where I don't know what happened there. Anyway, sorry, this is live. I'm just gonna throw this up on YouTube, the better recorded quality version. And okay, anyway, that was weird. So yeah, clear cut case of cutting shit and then bringing it back later and telling us it's new. Halo. It's Halo. It's what they've done with Halo Infinite. They're like, oh my god, we're adding the new Fiesta mode. Oh, you mean that mode that I played a lot of in Halo 2? Really, I can play it again? Fucking gee willikers. Oh no. Anyway, that's all that. We've had all this shit. Quest Watch, hopefully it's not going to be shit, but I'm not holding my breath. And even if it's really fun, people are only going to play it like enough to get whatever things they're offering, but otherwise, like, do the devs not know? Do they not know like what people want after what Overwatch 1 came out in 2016, 17? I forget. Do they not know like where the talk is on Reddit and like the YouTubers? Because I don't think they do. I don't know. Again, I think they're playing a completely different game than I'm playing. Anyway, it's season 6. Story missions. I've already talked to death about that. New support hero, we know that. Flashpoint, we don't know what that is. I think it's a new game mode, like I said before, but I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like a repurposed 2CP. I don't fucking know. Hero Mastery. This is why I said the Hero Mastery looked like if you've ever played Super Smash Bros. Melee and had to do break the targets. Like that break the target stage was made for every particular character. Like it wasn't just this generic thing. That's what this looks like. I mean, the visuals were generic throughout, but still, look, it's like you're in here. Can I zoom in? God, that is so fucking obnoxious. Where did my thing go? Yeah, look at that. It looks like just random fucking bullshit. I'll get on voice in a minute. Firing range, don't know. Player progression system, again, I don't know what that is. Like, we've already had that and they ripped it away from us in Overwatch 1, so if they're gonna give it back, whatever. Overwatch anniversary. So this is about a year away, a year out, because Overwatch was in May. So, and more. I talked about that. Anything that qualifies under the and more isn't worth mentioning, so it doesn't really matter, because if it was some like amazing thing, it would have already been in this list. So, season 7 beyond, we have a new tank hero. We've known that since the inception of Overwatch 2. We have a new collaboration event, which is like the One Punch Man. Again, I talked about that earlier. New control map. Oh my god. New winter event. Is that going to be new? Is it going to be a variation on May Snowball? New hero mastery missions, multiplayer. Again, I don't know what that is, but from this screenshot, it does not look promising. But I'm open-minded. Roadhog rework. That. Sure. Fan favorite modes return. Oh yeah, oh my god, you're giving us the ability to play the thing that we enjoyed, that you took away from us, and now you're giving it back to us? Oh my god, let me lick your boots. Cinematic debuts, we've been expecting that. We've had them since Overwatch 1, day 1. Competitive mystery heroes returns. Sure. Lore codex, again, I can go to the Overwatch wiki and learn anything I want to about anything related to Overwatch. And then we have a Sombra rework. These reworks, these are interesting. I'll touch a little bit on it again. Why are you doing reworks instead of making a new character? And people will come back. You know, the argument is, it's like, well, that character isn't doing what we want. They're not doing it well. So we need to rework them and make them like viable, I guess, in the meta. And well, if they aren't viable in the meta now and they're so bad that they qualify for a rework, why are they still in the game? Because anyone who doesn't know the game may pick those thinking that they are good enough to play. And so if that is like, if it's so bad it warrants a rework, then those people are picking an objectively terrible character and their team is going to yell at them. So why are they still in the game if they are that bad? And if they're not that bad, if the argument is, well, they're not that bad, like, so we can keep them in, they're still viable. Well, if they're still viable, then why are we doing reworks to any degree other than like maybe balancing issues, right? There's no way that you can come out ahead telling like either they're not good enough that they need rework and they need to not be in the game, or they are good enough in the game, which in turn is like, why do they need a rework? Why can't you just devote all of that time to the new character? That's it. I'm fucking pissed. I just am pissed. All right. Thanks for watching. This has been a fucking 2-hour video of me bitching about Overwatch. If you see this, thanks for like, commenting, subscribing, all that shit that I don't like to say. But I do stream every night, either here or on Twitch, one or the other. I'm not an Overwatch channel. I'm a channel about me, what I enjoy, and I enjoy Overwatch. It's probably one of my top 3 games of all time. This really fucked it up for me though. The anticipation is just let out. I don't even want to play the game anymore. I know I will, and I'm not going to say I won't. But I don't know. It doesn't matter. I've said that all that I need to. So I'll catch y'all next time.